Welcome to Expert Views on ADR Ever, a podcast about simplifying alternative dispute resolution in a bid to attract more users to settle their disputes or conflict with these alternatives: mediation, arbitration, negotiation, conciliation, and early neutral evaluation. My name is DrChinweEgbunike, PhD in ADR from the University of Brighton, United Kingdom. I'm delighted to welcome Andrew Diamond to the show. He is a leading Toronto-based mediator and arbitrator with over 16 years of experience as a third-party neutral in the public and private sectors. Andrew currently works at ADR Chambers, a prestigious firm which has administered over 55,000 mediation arbitrations since 2012. He is a distinguished fellow of the International Academy of Mediators and a member of the Canadian Academy of Distinguished Neutrals. Andrew's mediation and arbitration practice mainly focuses on tort litigation, commercial cases, and employment law matters, including wrongful dismissal, harassment, and discrimination claims on workplace disputes. Thank you so very much for honoring the invitation, Andrew. Let me stop sharing now. Yeah.
You're most welcome.
Thank you. So without further ado, let me go straight to the question. So question one is, are employees in Canada aware of ADR options regarding disputes or conflicts that might arise between them and their employers?
Well, first of all, I can only speak to what happens here in the province of Ontario because workplace legislation is a provincial matter. Here in Ontario, workplace disputes are covered under the overarching legislation of the Occupational Health and Safety Act, and under which harassment is a topic, and employers have to have in place policies and procedures to deal with harassment complaints. Under the Act, when a complaint is made, it puts an employer to the duty of conducting an investigation that is appropriate in the circumstances. So employees should know through education in the workplace about the legislation, about the complaints mechanism that their employer has. And as part of that, one would hope that employers have dispute resolution mechanisms if the dispute is one of those things that can be resolved in-house and the people continue to work together. I never touch that or see that. That happens within the workplace. When it comes to me, somebody has been fired, and either they were fired because they were accused of having conducted the harassment, or somebody who's been fired but believes that their having been harassed played some role in the decision to terminate their employment. But to answer the question specifically, employees should in the province of Ontario be aware of their employers' harassment policies, and that those employers should have in place procedures to investigate any complaints and hopefully resolve those complaints.
Okay, thank you so very much. So second question is, why is ADR more prevalent or popular in the more complex societies than it is in the less complex societies?
Well, I've been thinking about that question for some time, and I have to confess, I'm not sure it's true, the presumption. You know, here in Canada, our First Nations have a very, very long tradition of restorative justice and healing circles, where people who have been victims of crimes or other slights sit and talk and work through the dispute. I was under the understanding that other sort of communities, traditional communities, had similar dispute resolution techniques. So candidly, my thought is that in complex societies, we got away from this personal interaction to help resolve a dispute that would be at a village level. And we got this very complex structure of judges and barristers and solicitors and took it away from actually the complainants.
Yeah.
And in fact, it's complex society that only now that our Anglo judicial system is so bogged down because of its complexity, because of its bureaucracy, that we have turned back to more traditional methods of resolving disputes. So I actually think it's the other way around.
I agree with you. Yeah.
The complex societies have only now starting to adopt resolution techniques that have been long used in closely knit communities where people had to deal with each other on an ongoing basis. I don't know if that's your experience, but I think the question has a presumption in it which may not be true.
Yeah. So for my research, indicates that it's not true, that the less complex society had always had that in place, like the traditional method of settling disputes. So I quite agree with you on that. So thank you so very much. So the third question is, to what extent are employees encouraged to use ADR to settle discrimination, bullying, or harassment in the workplace in Canada?
Well, as I sort of, I'm repeating myself from the answer from the first question, that in a properly managed workplace, there should be in place proper human resource departments to provide support, and that those people should be trained in dispute resolution techniques. I'm sort of preempting one of your later questions, but a organization related to ADR Chambers is the president of ADR Chambers is a gentleman by the name of Alan Stitt. Alan also has a company called Stittfeld Handy, which is one of the leading trainers in dispute resolution. And I know, though that's nothing I'm involved in, that a large percentage of the people who attend his training programs are human resource specialists who one hopes then takes those dispute techniques back to the workplace to assist workers when they have disputes in the workplace.
All right, thank you so very much. So what is the way forward for mass awareness or advocacy of the benefits of utilizing ADR in the workplace?
I think, again, it goes back to what is good management and what is good human resource management. And obviously, if you can nip something in the bud and have a dispute dealt with between two coworkers in the earlier stages, that's better for everybody in the organization. So you would hope that a well-managed company, workplace, would encourage people to help settle their disputes and provide the resources and support within the human resources department to do that. Again, not something I'm involved in because I get to see these problems much later on, when unfortunately there probably is no resolution, continued workplace resolution.
All right, thank you. So this is a compulsory question on this show. What is your advice for people who want to pursue a career in ADR?
Well, first, so I was a barrister for about 10 years. I was then appointed by our provincial government into a number of adjudicative roles, and those roles had ADR elements to them, mediation elements to them. I then took that experience and have converted it back into a private practice. So first of all, I think you have to have the inclination to want to help, but you then have to have the opportunity. When I first started doing this, I thought, all right, I'll ring up all the people I used to, I in the firms where I was a barrister, and they would send me their files to help them. And that's not the way it works. It is a reputational business. As I sometimes say, the hardest part of my business is getting two lawyers who can't agree on very much to agree to appoint me as the mediator. So you have to start small. Obviously, if there's opportunity for public service appointments, which is the route I took, where obviously people have to come to you, that was a great way to do it. But otherwise, it's about trust. And I think it's very difficult if nobody knows who you are for them to then trust you to help resolve their clients' disputes. Here at least in Toronto, which is the largest judicial district in the province, we have mandatory mediation for all civil disputes. You have to have undertaken a private mediation before you can get on the trial list here. And there are many private mediators like me who people voluntarily pick, but because mediation is mandatory here in this jurisdiction, if you can't agree on a mediator, one will be appointed. So you can get as a sort of starting out mediator, you can get on that list of approved mediators, and then you get assigned cases to mediate. So that's a number of people have started that way, and as they get better known and build their business, they can then sort of leave the roster and charge more money, obviously. Yeah. So that's one of the ways, but just looking for opportunity in the public sector, in communities, is a good starting place.
Thank you so very much. So final question is, can you tell me more about the ADR program you do carry out at the ADR Chambers?
So ADR Chambers is a chambers in the British barrister sense, meaning the panel are all independent, and ADR Chambers is the overarching organization that helps us run our practices. That it does the administrative, the back office, the billing, the marketing. But each of us who are panel members are at the end of the day independent. We set our own schedules, we set our own pricing, we decide what kind of cases we want to do, we decide how many of them we want to do. So it provides the great back office support, which then frees us to just practice our ADR and not have to worry about the business administration. Obviously there are other mediators and arbitrators who run their own practices and have their own assistants and all of that. ADR Chambers also, because it's a collegial place, does continuing education for its members, et cetera. But we are all, while we're all enjoy the administrative benefits, we also, in some respects, like barristers, compete with each other. My case is my case and your case is your case. And though having said that, ADR Chambers also has a number of appointments or contracts. For example, the North American automobile dealers have an arbitration protocol, and ADR Chambers administers that, and its panel members are the arbitrators. And there's sort of a number of sort of organizational appointments of that nature that ADR Chambers also administers, as well as some ombuds work for various regions, municipalities, et cetera, that ADR Chambers does. Nothing that I'm involved with, but it does sort of a number of other dispute resolutions for, and provides sort of the expertise to clients who need it, need to have it in place, whether it's ombuds work or investigative work, but don't have the expertise to do it themselves.
All right, thank you so very much, Andrew. I appreciate you sharing these very useful insights on this show. And I also believe that employees and employers in other jurisdictions who are yet to embrace ADR would henceforth, opt for ADR and also train and teach about ADR in their organizations for their employees to, have embrace or opt for it whenever, in the light of any arising disputes or conflicts at their workplace, arises at their workplace. So thank you so very much for coming on this show. I'm so very grateful.
You're most welcome.
Yeah, no worries. All right, bye. Take care.
Take care.
Cheers. Bye. Bye. Bye.